Hello everyone, Maurice and welcome to Things Invest. Talk about investing, finance, fresh development. For today's very terms only. Investment we're going to talk about today will be Ethereum ticker ETH. First, just want to say good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where you are. As I'm recording of July 21st on Wednesday at 9:18 a.m. on the Eastern Time, Ethereum's currently trading like the $1898 level, up about 5.42%. And respect to the anticipatory pressure that we've been discussing on a technical analysis perspective, with respect to the whole crypto market today, it's been up. Right, with respect to Bitcoin, obviously the B word summit is happening today with the word B, which stands for Bitcoin Summit, is expected to happen later today from 9 a.m. Pacific time. Basically, it's 12 p.m. Eastern time, all the way to 5:55 p.m. on the Pacific time. And with respect to that drag effects we're experiencing right now on the anticipatory pressure, we are seeing buying pressure across the board with respect to Ethereum up about 5.5%, Dogecoin up about 8.33%, Cardano's up about 8.16%. So obviously this is something we've discussed prior, right? This is something that is kind of a buy the rumor, sell the news type of affectation, right? So I'm gonna go through a technical analysis alongside with the agenda that is released for the summit that's gonna be happening later today, and how is that gonna anti-correlate or correlate with the market dynamics going forward ahead of the weekend affectation, ahead of the FOMC meeting that's coming up. What should we be expecting later today, based on the psychological trends and how the technical analysis is speaking to us right now? So stay tuned, stick around, let's make some money. Alright, so moving on to the technical analysis, I'm recording us of 9:22 a.m. on an Eastern time, basically about 3 hours away from the summit opening. Ethereum's currently trading like the $1903 level, up about 5.62%. Bitcoin's up about 5.63% respectively. So they're kind of, trending accordingly. If you look at the chart, they are very similar. If you talk about like just the recent trends, right? And respect to Dogecoin up about almost 9%, Cardano up about 8.32%, like we talked about. And altcoins are typically, a little bit more pumped because of the fact that the price level is a little bit less sensitive in comparisons to obviously the stable coins like Bitcoin, which is obviously known for that, and Ethereum, which is obviously demands a relatively higher price point compared to like Dogecoin, which is like a couple cents, right? And also Cardano, a couple dollars, right? But with respect to price sensitivity, despite all of that, across the board, we're relatively healthy in terms of the buying pressure today, right? Okay, so before I move on to the technical analysis, let's take a look at the agenda for today for the B Word Summits, because the event's going to durate the whole entire day, but there are specific sessions throughout the day that's going to make the needle jump a little bit more volatile than the others. So let's take a look at how substantive is the events throughout the day, okay? So with respect to the agenda, obviously it starts from 9 a.m. Pacific time all the way to 5:55 p.m. on Pacific time, and the whole entire summit is going to be surrounding around the topic of Bitcoin, obviously, right? But with respect to the main events, based on my high level read so far, I think there are a lot of like sessions, right? But these sessions are mostly pre-recorded, right? So think of like most of these like track one, for example, like 9 a.m. Watch on demand, demystifying Bitcoin. These are just basically informational sessions of videos, comparable to like the ones you watch on Netflix or Hulu that talks about Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies as a whole. So you could probably skip that. You don't probably need to watch it, but maybe these are informational interviews that are produced by Jack Dorsey. I wouldn't be surprised. And if you are gonna watch these videos, try to understand the undertone of the specific adjectives that the producer used in this video to see if there's any bias undertone, right? Are they trying to persuade you? Are they trying to make you think a certain way, or are they leaning more towards one side of the spectrum versus another that they are ultimately try to influence the market, right? So that's something to be mindful of. But think of these as the educational sessions. Use it as your just for your informational or educational purposes only, and do not incorporate any bias into it. And that's how I would kind of approach by watching these videos. And also with respect to like what happens with supporting the developer ecosystem, securing the Bitcoin network, regulating Bitcoin, all of these, right? These are just basically different chapters surrounding the topic of Bitcoin, right? But I think the main events that you want to focus on would be the ones right here, right on track 2, available at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Bitcoin as a tool for economic empowerment. This is going to be the live session that we are anticipating, right? So we could probably skip all of the other ones and just focus on this one, right? And this is going to be hosted by the 4 keynote speakers, right? Jack Dorsey, obviously, he's the one that's hosting this event. He also got the guest Elon Musk and Cathie Wood, right? So I think I foreshadow is going to be some sort of like a debate, right? And this is where you're going to be want to focusing your energy on, right? And raise your ear up. And it's only 1 hour, despite the whole summit's going to be the whole day. And I want you to like focus on listening to that undertone, right? I know that Jack Dorsey obviously is characterized by the media affectation that he's some sort of a Bitcoin maximalist, right? But is that really the truth, right? I want you to understand his specific rationale and how Elon and Cathie was going to counter or talk about their value proposition for the long-term perspective going forward, right? And try to also understand how Steve, who is the moderator, thinking, right? As he's moderating the specific questions that he is focusing on. Is he diversifying the energy across the 3 people, Jack, Elon, and Cathie, evenly? Or is he more, or is he trying to influence in some sort of like a persuasive type of psychological tone, right? To make or try to make people listening feel a certain way, right? And you could kind of sense that when you are hearing it, right? So think of Steve Lee as more of an odd duck, because most of the time people are often obviously focusing on the people speaking, but the moderator have a power of control to make the public perceptions feel a certain way or look a certain way, depending on the type of questions that he or she asks, right? So it's something to be mindful of for later today, right? And use your obviously personal judgment to understand like where they're coming from, right? And I foresee we should see some volatility with respect to the market, right? So let's go back to the chart, knowing the fact that 11 a.m. Pacific time. So 11 a.m. Pacific time, that's basically 2 p.m. Eastern time, right? So it's 3 hours on the East Coast, right? So I think by then I think we're sustaining. We have already incurred a pump because of the Janet Yellen media affectation that we have incurred, yesterday and the day before, and subsequently sold off, not just on the crypto side, but also on the equity side, which subsequently also anti-correlates. That we did break through 2 resistance levels, right? We broke through the 1700, right? The 1750, sorry, and then we break through the 1850, which is a very substantive level. So we leap up to the 1900 right now, right? So how substantive is the current level right now, right? Knowing the fact that we did break through the 1750, we did break through the 1850. We also broke through the 1700, obviously, but that's not really a consolidation number. This is just more of a flat number in the psychological perspective. We are at the 1900 right now, right? So the 1900, again, it's not a substantive level. The true level is all the way up to the $2,050 level, right? Above here, right? So my suggestion is that we should see a little bit more buying pressure or sustainability around the level that we're at right now, knowing the fact that we're up like 6% already. And as we, the summit, the real session happens at 11 a.m. on the Pacific time or 2 p.m. on the Eastern time, right? We'll hear more, right? And I think by then we should be seeing some selling pressure around like 2 p.m. Eastern time. And I know the live session that's going to be hosted with Elon Musk, Cathie Wood and Jack Dorsey, and with obviously the moderator Steve Lee, it's going to durate about like an hour. Okay. So we should see some probably sell the news type of pressure afterwards. I think maybe 3 p.m. Eastern time or 4 p.m. depending on how the media affectation is going to shake out, because I think there's going to be some reporting afterwards on like giving a synopsis of what they were talking about in the debate, or just just a chat or whatever. It's like a coffee chat, whatever, right? And we see how that goes. But I think based on the momentum that we're seeing right now, we are seeing some sort of buy the rumor, sell the news type of affectation, right? So that's something to be important to understand, right? Because I think the debate or the session is going to be relatively more neutral tone. I don't think they are public figures, and I believe public figures are media trained, and they tend to speak more in a neutral tone, in a more diplomatic way. Um, so that's something to be also be mindful of. We might just get disappointed actually from any specific um, one-sided type of perspective that we're looking to get out of this session today. Okay, so hopefully that's helpful into how I'm thinking about this. So would I be buying now at the 1900? I think I'll probably hold off because of the pump that we're seeing right now, and it's not substantive where we're at right now. I think we might drop down to like the 1850 by later today. I don't think it's going to be a major sell-off. I think we're just going to neutral back down to the 1850, which is a more substantive level of consolidation. And then on Thursday, we should see some buying pressure, which wouldn't be surprising to me. And then Friday and Saturday is the weekend affectation, so we're probably going to hover back down to the 1850. The 1850 is basically a comfort level, right? So I think that's where we're going to be landing going forward. And then we will discuss about the dynamics of the FOMC meeting ahead. All right, just to recap all the numbers and technical analysis. Again, we are at the hovering level, the 1900, but again, that's not a substantive level that we've tested before. The 1850 is more of a substantive level, or the next level, the 2050, right? Or the 2000 if you want to be like more thinking about in the more of a flat number perspective, right? Do we see 1800 near term? I don't think so. I think 1850 is a very substantive level that we have been, more of a comfort level that we have a propensity to lean towards. 1750, I think pops, probably not because we saw the worst already with respect to the Janet Yellen meeting that we had that subsequently drove, a lot of stir of, negative feelings across the market about inflationary pressure, about regulatory tightening and all that stuff, right? So I don't think 1750 would be happening in the near term, but we might hear more news ahead of the FOMC meeting as we are, basically regurgitating what we have been talking about with respect to the negative foreshadow that is coming up the Fed's coming forward, right? So with respect to corporate option, 20%, 9,800, 5.3 times your money if you buy at the $1850 level. All right, so that's it for today. Respect my technical analysis on Ethereum ticket ETH. Hopefully this is helpful into how am I going to be playing with respect to the market volatility that we'll be seeing in the next couple of days, or specifically for today for the B-Word Summit. Feel free to ask me any questions if you have any questions, or if there was anything that was unclear. Happy to further clarify for you guys. I'm going to be out today. Actually, I have a lot of meetings in the city today, so I'm actually going to be heading out, not at home today. But I should be on my phone throughout the day, so feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. And stay tuned for the next video. Take care. Bye.